Now we must move on to the next portion of the show, Follywood Absolute Cinema, where we talk about the fall of Hollywood, which is basically just the same thing as the AAA gaming industry, but in the movie industry instead, and TV shows.
I know I just talked about another adult animated comedy that uses outdated humor on Netflix, but it would seem Paramount Plus has also decided to jump on this trend. However, this time, it's a little different because we're getting a series based on a Sega video game made in 1989.
Dude, this just leaks badass. I wonder if this new show is gonna look as cool as this.
Called Golden Axe. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm a huge fan of this franchise. I mean, my first introduction to Golden Axe was when I was a kid and saw Funny Viking Man from that Sonic for Hire Machinima series. And after researching and
I like Golden Axe. I'm a retro gamer. I've played a lot of Golden Axe in my day.
finding out
It was my stepdad's favorite game.
which game he originated from, I could then call myself cultured, but this time, I actually sat down and played the original game, and it's your average hack and slash that was inspired by Conan the Barbarian, of all things. While not the first beat-em-up type of game, it was still one of the first popular fantasy-themed arcade games. Golden Axe integrated unique and new fighting styles during its time. So
I really like all the sword and sorcery stuff. I'm a big fan of the 1980s sword and sorcery movement that was happening. I wish that it wouldn't have died. We need more sword and sorcery, damn it.
Such as magic and medieval weaponry, when most of the other arcade games follow the same fighting set as Double Dragon or Street Fighter, and later, Golden Axe would inspire more games, along with its own sequels. The last Golden Axe game that was released was 2008,
I remember
and based
that.
on the reception, it seems like the series kind of ended on a whimper, but it looks like there's a new Golden Axe game in production, and the Paramount TV show with a comedic spin to it.
It looks like it was created by the LGBTQ plus community, the LGBTQ.
Seems to be serving as an introduction to the series for newcomers before the new game is released. An interesting choice. I think it's interesting because
It looked like they took the original idea from Golden Axe Beast Riders and made it gay.
after doing some research on the lore of Golden Axe, it would seem like to me that while a little bit campy, the franchise is meant to be somewhat of a dark fantasy. Not full on, but similar to Conan the Barbarian, which again is what inspired the game in the first place. And guess what? The Conan franchise got an animated adaptation that, again, while a little campy, still embraces the identity of Conan without acting like the IP that they're adapting is embarrassing. Conan the Adventurer came out in the 90s, so it's not entirely fair to compare it to adaptations of today, because in modern day times, the move is to take a beloved franchise from a couple decades ago and just point out how gosh darn silly it is. And to be fair, sometimes that works, so maybe this show won't be that bad at all.
No.
I'm so excited, I'm gonna
Dude, it looks like all the other gay shows, they just took the color slop out of it, but it's still, the color is sloppy because the characters and the moving objects are different colors in the backgrounds. They're like desaturated and bright. It looks like Fable. It looks like the new Fable,
grow up.
but cartoon.
Because we're
It looks like if they would have made Fable the cartoon style, it would be this cartoon style and it would just be gay anyway.
Sorry, we don't have a group name. We were barely getting along until 8 minutes ago.
You know, I'm not entirely opposed to a
It's millennial writing.
reboot serving as a full-on parody for an old franchise. I mean, sure, I'd rather have a show embrace the silliness of its premise because
But also be serious while it's not taking itself too seriously, you know? I want it to be serious, but also ridiculous.
I find that infinitely more charming than
Oh, yeah.
simply pointing and laughing about how dumb something is. It's okay to be sincere. If Golden Axe wants to be a comedy, fine. However, if you want to go down that route, then be fucking funny.
Oh, come on, Diesel. We need some real millennial XD moments to spice up this campy 80s game. How could we possibly take it seriously?
Now, after watching the trailer, you'll quickly notice that this show is going to rely heavily on meta humor and what's also known as lampshading, a writing technique where a character calls attention to a cliche, illogical, or contrived element, often in characters' dialogue, by
And I gotta point out how problematic the old thing was.
calling attention to something that threatens a reader's suspension of disbelief. We're essentially telling readers, yep, the story world thinks these elements are odd too. Just roll with it. Writing tropes such as meta humor and lampshading
I love The Cabin in the Woods.
can be done well, but
Yeah.
it seems like rather than
Good
being
movie.
clever with this type of comedy, the Golden Axe
It's like nothing fits the actual backgrounds. It's like they're just being transposed onto the background all the fucking time.
adaptation is relying on bottom-of-the-barrel slop when utilizing this trope, and by that, I mean this show mixes self-aware millennial humor with snarky MCU dialogue. Oh boy, my favorites. I'm sure using these tropes won't make Golden Axe extremely dated right from the get-go. Like most people, I would much rather have Tyrus just say some corny line and move on, instead of her partaking in self-referential hijinks. Oh boy.
Sorry, we
It looks like a streaming show. It does. Streaming shows with low quality look like this.
don't have a group name. We were barely getting along until 8 minutes ago.
That was pretty good, but I think we can crank it up just a notch. Hey, you! Don't hurt my friends. Actually, would I really consider these guys my friends? I don't even have them added on Facebook. You guys know how modern day Family Guy's version of comedy is just saying what the joke is right before it happens because the writers are just so self-aware, and that's so funny.
I'm gonna run behind this tree and then the bear's gonna drag me out. Me, and very clearly not a dummy who he then tosses around. Ah, oh no, I'm being tossed around.
Well, the Golden Axe trailer somewhat does this by feeling the need to point out the goofiness of the world. And as I said before, the millennial humor just makes it worse and makes my eyes roll back even further.
When evil rises, heroes rise harder on their trusty purple mutant thingies.
Oh my god. What the fuck are we doing? The joke isn't funny. It's the fact that they thought their brains are so broken that they broke my brain. I think that was the goal.
Whoa, that's so random. Thanks for pointing out how random and weird that bird mount is. I never thought about how random that was in the game. But then you told me it was random and that's funny.
To defeat Death Adder, we need an actual plan.
We're going to do what we do best. Face a series of progressively harder enemies until we have a big final battle with Death Adder. And then we kill him for good.
Whoa, that's so true. When you really think about it, the games are simple and kinda nonsensical. It's not like I, the viewer, was already aware of that. But remember guys, character explaining the obvious is true comedy.
I was hoping I could join your quest. Why don't you go first? Found the trap on the first try!
Did you catch that, audience? He fell on the first level. He just started his adventure and already failed. What a clumsy oaf, am I right? Yeah, surprisingly, replacing 1980s camp with self-aware, quirky Chungus humor doesn't enhance the product in the slightest. In fact, I would say there is nothing more.
It looks like a point-and-click game. One of those point-and-click indie games that are made by, the modern audience. One of the indie games that nobody plays.
More unfunny than someone acting
Or a mobile game.
like they're above the thing they're mocking, only to come across as annoying themselves.
Kind of reminds me of mobile game ads whenever they use cartoons.
It's like, oh yeah, it's hilarious how the people behind the show use outdated millennial humor to make fun of a 1980s franchise.
So our heroes fight all sorts of stuff.
All sorts of stuff? Even the narrator doesn't give a shit. Oh wait, that's the joke. Hilarious. He's so nonchalant about this adaptation, meaning they're in on the joke.
It's like the same kind of humor that Velma had.
Here's an idea. Try actually being sincere.
Golden Axe. Whoa, like the game? Heck yeah. Let's freaking go.
Ugh, never mind. Ironically, because the comedy itself is
Let's freaking go. That's something an old man would say, right? Right, kids?
outdated, and this has led to many people, such as myself, making fun of how stupid and lame this trailer is. Derp? It's so ironic. Teehee, we hate the games but are making a show about them for some reason. This looks like something you see on TV in GTA 5. What are we, some kind of golden axe? We can take a little campiness. It's fine. People find that charming. If you're too afraid to make a campy show, then you can take that IP and adapt it into something.
And you know they're gonna incorporate serious social issues. And also, where's the shadows? There's no shadows. The backgrounds have shadows. It's just so uncanny.
More serious and dark. It's definitely possible. We've seen this time and time again with a character like Batman. A grown man fighting crime dressed as a giant bat sounds incredibly silly, but writers have pulled off a serious tone with this idea multiple times. It's possible. These adaptations were unapologetic, and guess what? Everyone ate it up. I think the only time the humor within this trailer actually felt organic and not just get a load of derpy derpus over here is when Tyrus is aggressively kicking this little gnome guy for extra magic pots.
Look at him. He's enjoying this sexually. These people are fucking freaks.
That's actually kind of funny. In the game, you pick up the magic pot.
It's funny until if it was a normal person doing it, but you know that they were getting off while they were drawing that little scene right there where she was kicking him in the nuts.
To use more powerful spells. The idea of Tyrus just thinking to herself that I want more magic pots and then forcibly beating the pots out of the little thief character makes for a good setup. And it's also nice not hearing the joke explained to me. Too bad the rest of the trailer didn't have similar jokes. What I'm still confused about is what the target demographic is for Paramount's Golden Axe. Most people who are diehard fans of this game are probably well within their 40s, and I just can't see them laughing at any of these jokes. Maybe a younger audience as an introduction to the franchise? Maybe. That seemed to be the tactic for Thundercats Roar, but that show was definitely made for 10-year-olds and was created in 2019, where this type of comedy
I didn't even know this existed. So they made like a weird Teen Titans Go version of Thundercats with like the style of Steven Universe and like those Cartoon Network randomness shows.
was more prevalent. I guess Paramount thinks that this type of comedy is still alive for most people, but again, based on the reception, it doesn't look to be that way. Anyways, the comedy aside, the art style and animation looks kind of bland. It's not bad by any means, and I really like the style of the poster, and allegedly the art director for Golden Axe responded to a Reddit user clarifying that the goal was to make the show look like it was made in the early 90s, which I can kind of see that vision.
Yeah, no, it looks like a 2020s show. It looks like 2020s like deviant art.
The poster, but unfortunately, based off the trailer, I don't think that translated well within the actual show. I'm sure a lot of effort was put into the product. The script, however, is a different story, at least what was provided for us. As I said with the Netflix show, dang, maybe Paramount's Golden Axe is gonna be non-stop 24-karat comedy, but I'm still not confident that'll be the case. Trailers are meant to hype me up and not lead to severe eye-rolling and groaning.
Remember that Simpsons episode where they go on a tour of the Duff Brewery and you find out that every flavour is just the same crap piped into different containers? Well, that's basically James Gunn's DCU at this point. No matter what.
Yeah, the Simpsons did everything, didn't they?
What movie or show you find yourself watching, it's all just slightly flavors of the same cynical, wannabe, edgy, unfunny, deconstructionist James Gunn slop. In this case, seasoned with a little bit of Damon Lindelof's mildly retarded answer to True Detective, but with all of the intelligence and creativity replaced by his thinly disguised race-baiting political fetishes to produce Green Lanterns.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just
That was a fucking statement.
Lanterns now, because green isn't cool enough for a show about intergalactic space cops with magical rings that allow them to manifest anything they can imagine, I guess. Ugh, I'm so tired, man. Watching a DC project at this point is a bit like spinning a wheel of fortune to decide the method of your own demise. You know it's ultimately going to be messy and unpleasant, it's just a question of degrees.
It looks so boring. It looks so uninteresting. Why do comic book movies gotta look so real life, so realistic?
And having slogged
so
through
annoying. Everything, literally everything has to be so realistic. I don't want realistic.
57 minutes of the pilot episode, I can confidently tell you this show is an absolute chore, combining the worst aspects of modern Hollywood character assassination with a tediously slow plot that takes forever to get moving.
The only color is the man right there.
Moving, and dialogue that literally spells out every single thing that just happened, telegraphs what's about to happen so the audience is usually 10 minutes ahead of the writers, and lays out its political allegories for modern day American immigration and race issues with all the subtlety of a thermobaric weapon.
Let's get this over quickly.
Consider it done, Simon Phoenix. The show picks up in 1996 with a young Jon Stewart. No, not that one. Watching Hal Jordan being interviewed on TV about how he became the Green Lantern until his dad shows up and shoots at him to see if he's scared or not.
Are you afraid?
No, sir.
Was that like the beginning of Kick-Ass?
You know, funny story, I actually tried that once with a crossbow, but it didn't work out quite so well. Wait, we should probably edit there. Anyway, flash forward 20 years or so, and John's now being trained by Hal as a kind of backup lantern just in case anything happens to him. Oh yeah, and Hal's a drunk middle-aged loser now who doesn't actually teach him anything useful.
Yeah, that's how they portray middle-aged white men in Hollywood now. They have to be pieces of shit, and then you have to get the overly confident, overly competent side character that's going to take the mantle so they can have a black man replace the Green Lantern.
Because the rules of modern writing dictate that any man over the age of 50 has to be a drunk, disheveled loser. My god, it's just so creative, I can't get over it. Anyway, when a mass shooting happens at a football game in small-town Nebraska, the boys are deployed to find out what happened. That's when they run into annoying girl boss number 1 who...
Of course, the fucking cop is going to be a woman. It's like they're doing all of the boxes.
Seems to exist purely to shit-talk Hal and delay his investigation for as long as possible to stretch the 20 minutes of actual plot into a 60-minute episodes. But despite her best efforts, Hal uncovers the shooter and he suspects that he's an alien in disguise, but annoying girl boss number 1 won't let him interrogate the guy even when he gets himself arrested to be sent to the same jail as him. I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm no expert on the Green Lantern powers or anything, but couldn't Hal just force his way into the prison if it's that urgent? It's not like a small-town sheriff is going to be able to stop him no matter how much of a girl boss she is. Ah, what fucking ever. So the two lads eventually get summoned to evil redneck man's house. I know he's evil because he's a white man who lives on a ranch and immediately starts talking about wanting to protect the planet from anyone who wasn't born.
He's got a cowboy hat. He seems like a right-wing person. Yeah, he's evil in this movie.
There.
How about we both want to protect the planet from anybody not born?
Are you getting the subtle messaging yet, dear viewer? Anyway, evil redneck man pulls some strings to get Hal to interrogate the shooter, which is something that should have happened like 20 minutes ago, but fuck it, we need to make this episode an hour long somehow. And even though annoying girl boss number 1 is absolutely convinced that he's barking up the wrong tree, Hal's actually proven right and the man really is an alien pretended to be human. Then he blows himself up, but Hal saves the day.
Men in Black was a better story.
With his ring powers, and she's still pissed at him somehow. Seriously, fuck off. Flash forward another 10 years and John returns to the place where it all happened, reunites with annoying girl boss number 1 who somehow hasn't aged a day in 10 years, and together they find Hal's frozen body at the football stadium, having completed his middle-aged white man character arc by dying and stepping aside to make way for someone more diverse. Now, what can I say about this show?
Dude, every single time. It's so easy to predict.
Except, I can't think of many projects where the influences and intentions of the writers are more glaringly obvious than Lanterns. Instead of making a show about intergalactic space cops going on cosmic adventures and battling all manners of weird and wonderful alien threats, they instead decided to make a Temu version of True Detective, complete with bleak, cynical, and mostly unlikable characters.
Who thinks that shit like this is interesting? I wonder how much money they spent on it.
Who constantly have to swear to prove just how edgy they are, patched together with all the tedious tropes of modern Hollywood writing, and the usual laundry list of safe, predictable political targets like Republicans, small-town America, and immigration policy. And holy fuckballs, is it tedious.
Politics was always in movies.
It's nothing but a standard police procedural with some vague superhero elements mixed in, made by people with no understanding of police procedures and no affection for superheroes. Not only is it crushingly slow and dull, stretching out the runtime with pointless side quests and putting characters into holding patterns while the plot catches up with them, but it also literally spells out everything that's happening just in case you weren't paying attention.
Yeah, they have to do that. They have articles about wanting to do things like this because movies are too hard to follow. They need to be surface level and not have metaphors and imagery and symbolism that confuse people, because we need to include everybody, even people who are too stupid to realize what's going on, because that's not inclusive. Some people can't think as good as the rest of us.
Which, to be fair, you probably weren't. Like at one point when John goes to a barbecue at evil redneck guy's house, only to discover the old lady that he fucked in a parking lot the night before, oh yeah, that's the thing which happens, is the guy's wife, and the dude says this to him as he leaves.
Nothing better than eating off another man's grill.
I mean, okay, it's a bit cringy, but at least it gives you a bit of a hint about how much the man really knows. Then fucking Hal has to immediately jump in with this absolute clanger.
I definitely slept with his wife.
And he knows?
Apparently.
I mean, it's like the writers have never even heard of the idea of...
Dude, it's just another degenerate box that got checked. The black man is gonna come in and sleep with your wife if you're a right-wing chud. Race mixing! Can I say that on YouTube? Too fucking late now.
Subtext. Honestly, Damon Lindelof should have been banned from ever writing anything again ever after the absolute embarrassment of Watchmen, but somehow this bald, pretentious retard just keeps failing upwards in Hollywood. Let that be a lesson to you, kids. It's not what you know or even who you know, it's what you say that matters in that industry. In terms of character work, pretty much everyone except Hal is an unlikable arsehole in this show, and most of that comes down to Kyle Chandler doing his best with some pretty shocking material. Aaron Pierre, on the other hand, is an absolute block of wood, with all the personality and charisma of a love child between Sam Worthington and Sophie Turner.
Yeah, he was placed into that role as a token black guy.
Jesus, how is this guy supposed to carry the entire show? I was bored of him after like one episode. Ultimately, Lanterns is pretty much exactly what I expected when you take the political obsessions of Damon Lindelof and try to plant them in the creative wasteland of James Gunn's DCU by James Gunn. It's a show that combines the worst of every...
Who is this for? It was for the person who made it. That's who it was for. That's why these movies get made like this.
Every world, and I don't imagine I'm going to be wasting much more time on it. Not when there's much better things I could be doing.